All right. Hello again, everybody. This is Calvin. This is episode 4 of my show, Calvinomics, new YouTube series that I launched last night in the middle of the night with 2 videos in my dark room. Whatever. It's a nice, beautiful day here, February. This is now, depending on when you watch this, it's very highly you're finding it on the day I'm launching this. This is February 16th, 2026. As you can see from my screen right here, Rockford, Illinois we're broadcasting from. It's it's going to be 65. So the record back in 1921 was 57 degrees. So 65 degrees in mid-February. There's no snow on the ground. I was born, raised in Texas, and I lived down there for a long time. I've also lived up in Illinois for a long time as well. And this feels like Texas, where everything is just brown on the grass. All the grass is brown, and it's just like feels like spring in February. It's like, man, I thought I moved away from this. Well, anyway, there you go. Okay, so I'm just going to start almost every episode with this national debt clock rolling. I love to just kind of keep track of it. So far, it's gone up about a few $100,000 in the last few seconds. Okay, so we were talking about tariffs in episode 3. This is part 2. I want to keep these videos 10 minutes or below. I don't like going over 15. The first couple were 20, which I feel is a little bit long. There's some valuable information. I hope you enjoy this stuff. I do. I don't get a chance to talk about it as much on a daily basis. Usually, when I do try to engage people with it, or at least just talk about it, it just kind of descends into, Trump this, Biden this, Obama this, George Washington that. And I just don't like that. I just like to present material. We have who we have as president, and in 2028, we'll have who we have as president then, and so on and so on. You just got to live with it. And that's just kind of my philosophy. So, what we're living with right now is a high tariff environment. Now, we can bicker and argue about the cause of it. Is it good? Is it bad? And then never really solve anything. So I'm just going to tell you what it is. So, following up on the last episode, the tariffs in the last most likely year, basically a few months, I'd say maybe since Trump took office, I think they were taking this into account. It's around $374 billion in tariff revenue. Now, tariffs are paid by the importer of foreign goods. So if you're a company, let's just say, I don't know, Apple, and you are buying a bunch of products from China, or at least the supplies to make phones. You say if you make phones in Austin, I used to live in Austin, and I know they produce some things. I used to work for Apple actually in Austin, North Austin, and in the sales department. However, there is some production that does occur, not actually at that facility, but somewhere else. And so if you got to import those materials, Apple now has to pay a higher inflated price. It's like depending on what the material is and if there's a tariff on it. Okay, so let's kind of go. In the last episode, I talked about Brazil. We talk about China, but there's a lot of other countries that have a lot of other tariffs. Brazil is an interesting one. Now, I don't know who this guy is. Just ads, whatever. So this is Britannica money. I try to find as much neutral sources as possible. So I try to stay away from like CNN or Fox, and just try to find things that just lay it out. So when Trump came into office, there was like basically tariffs across the board, 10%. That's just what they are. But we're just if you're lower than that, now you're at 10%. So for us, that's a 10% rise, and it could add up to lots and lots of money. However, Brazil kind of got it extra bad. There were some political things that most likely led to the situation. Bolsonaro, and then the person like being prosecuted. I guess it could be the same word depending on the person. But I don't really care. And then Trump was like, no, now it's 50%, and we're just going to charge that. So as you can see at this map, I wonder if I can go in. Very first thing Trump did was basically raise it on their neighbors, 35% Canada outside this trading, basically a trading agreement. But then Brazil got hit with 50, and so did India. Now, India has been known to have very high tariffs on our products going way back. So, not surprised that's occurring. But the thing is, like India, even before Trump 1.0, before Biden, they just have always been more protectionist in that way. So if we go here, here's some things, just like a couple things that they trade. As you can see here, this is a trend line: imports from Brazil, 2024 January. So this is January 2023. And you can kind of see this trend line. This orange one is imports from Brazil trend line, still going up. But as you can see, it broke the trend here in July, most likely when, yep, there you go, 40% tariff shot up. Trump did a 10% and then did a 40% on top of it. And then it just collapsed, the imports from Brazil. And so exports to Brazil have sort of remained the same. They're kind of falling, but it looks like it has fallen down as well. And then, however, it's still increasing. So one thing that was said was that we have a trade deficit with Brazil. We have not had that. Coffee was expensive, as you can see here, but actually the very first one. So in 2025, there was an agreement in November, and they were no longer subject to the extra 40% tariff. This is probably when people recognized that coffee was getting ridiculously overpriced. So there were some arrangements, some agreements. I don't really know the basics of it, but it fell. Organic honey still has to do 50%. Okay, so why? Don't know. It just is. Tilapia fillets, same thing, full 50% if they're imported from Brazil. As you can see here, they're just tilapias are kind of just chilling. Here you go. So, it's just kind of relaxing, and then shoots all the way up here. Okay. And then worked granite. That's also another one. Now, if you're like me, you're like, I don't really work with granite. So, what is it? Highly durable, polished, or shaped rock. Ingenious. I don't know. I'm not going to try to pronounce that and butcher it. Used extensively, but like granite countertops. Used for premium indoor and outdoor services, including kitchen countertops, bathroom vanities, flooring, and backsplashes. So once again, some type of precious material used for construction, and then the price is shooting up. So therefore, construction, home construction, different suppliers are like, well, we don't want to pay that. We have to pass it on to the customer. Price of the house goes up, or you just quit using granite countertops. I mean, they just remodel the apartments with the granite countertops and then charge you $400 extra a month. You're like, oh yeah, it's luxury now. So then I found this website, India Tariffs of the United States. So Brazil is just getting hit with it. There's probably some politics that play into it. And as you can see here, it's not really shifting too much. I mean, it's shifting what they're trading with, but overall, it kind of looks sort of like the same. And there's really, our exports to Brazil have not changed at that much. However, the imports have. Okay, so then I found this website, wits.worldbank.org. It talks about Indian tariffs. And when I say Indian, I mean India as like the country. So the Indian tariffs on the United States. So as you can see here, 30%. This is from 2022. Now I'm not sure what they are now, but as you can see, so Biden was in office during the time. You got, are they trading them? Yes. Here's their 30%. I mean, just 30% across the board. But see, there's about 5,602 items on here. We're not going to go through all that. That'd be crazy. All we can do is traded. So you can see here, Alaska, Pollock. Okay. Honey, natural honey is tax tariff on our natural honey from, if we were to send it over to India, it would be a 60% tariff on it. And then, as you can see here, anything that's yes. So their tariffs on us are very, very high. And in fact, there's some roses at 60, um, some a lot of things at 30, but then if you go down, there was one that I found. Here it is, 100. I'm not sure which one it was. Here you go, 70. So a tariff of 70% on spices and pepper, 70% on cereals. Other, I'm not sure. So when I took a import export class, it was more just like a side thing. It actually wasn't a class. It was more of like a certification. It was 4 weeks long at Texas State University. Actually, really cool. It talked about harmonized codes, and this is, chances are this is what this is. What this is labeled as other, not really sure, but there's all these harmonized codes which basically list the product that is being sold or imported or exported. So here you go. 100% tariff, nuts, edible, walnuts, fresh or dried in shell. So India is no, here we go, tea, green tea, some reason they don't really want the tea or these nuts. I should have said it like that, but kind of funny. Cereal, vegetables, all that stuff. As you can see here, spices. They really don't want our spices either crushed nor ground. Not really sure what that even means, but it's taxed at 70%. Coffee, non-decaffeinated, 100%. So this is kind of what the argument is that we, as the United States, we had significantly lower. So as you can see here, actually, before I get to that, India's exports to U.S. dropped 22% due to Trump's 50% tariffs. So there you go. Obviously, if we have these huge tariffs on India, it's like, well, all of a sudden now they're going to get hit. And then here, this was posted about 10 days ago, 14 days ago. Sorry, don't know my dates. U.S. to cut tariffs on India to 18%. India agrees to end Russian oil purchases. And there was also another agreement that India was going to remove some of the tariffs. I mean, this stuff gets complicated. We can't go through all of it. But also, since Russia didn't have anywhere to, I mean, they were selling their gas, and actually, they were selling it, I mean, even to India because there's over a billion people there and at discounted prices. Trump was like, we're going to raise tariffs on you if you keep buying that. So this is a significant development here. We'll see how it plays out and if it happens. But this kind of goes back to what were the EU's uh, import tariffs on American cars. So 15%. However, it was like around 10, something like that in the past. Here, EU had a 10%. Yeah, thank you, Reddit. This is what I was looking for. EU had a 10% tariff on American cars, while the US had 2.5. So this Reddit always does help. Of course, I remember this. This is fine. This is a good source. This is actually what it was, but it has changed. I think it's just 15 unilateral, like reciprocal. So and then there's, I guess it depends on the truck too. This is 4 years ago. And so things see, replying this in 2025, this Trump, take that from 25 to 40%. So a lot has changed, obviously, even from 4 years ago. But one of the biggest argument was that United States, we were charging very low tariffs for a lot of stuff. So we were having people send us their stuff. And then when we'd send it out, we send our products out, people had higher tariffs on ours, which made it less likely that the company that we're sending it to would buy so much of it because it would cost too much money. And therefore, when they, like, say we're just selling, I don't know, Polars. I'm drinking a Polar seltzer right now. It's actually really good, blackberry mango. And whatever. I got a 8 pack, $4 here. But we're like, hey, we're going to send it out to France. I'm sure France has all sorts of other sparkling waters, but they're like, well, as the United States, we're going to charge 20%. And then, but for France's sparkling water, we only charge 2%. It's like, well, there you go. We're buying all this stuff at a low price, and then actually sometimes even undercutting our own people here in the United States, and then sending it to France. They might throw it on the shelves, but it's at a much higher price because the tariff is 20%. So the French consumer goes in the store, oh, there's American Polar. Now I'm good. I get my French sparkling water for however many euros less. And that's part of the argument. Now, it's very, very complicated. It goes much deeper than that. But either way, just want to let you know that just something interesting there. I want to keep this video short. I'll make another part 3. I'll probably dive into another country or maybe something specific, not Pacific, but actually something specific. My God, I can't see the word. Maybe with some of the Asian countries, talking about some of our allies, quote, allies. So Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, the Philippines, even, so Pacific Island, and even Australia. And it just kind of be kind of interesting to see how that has developed over time. Well, if you ever want me to talk about a particular tariff topic, whenever you watch this, just throw it in the comments and or just leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the video. That'd be great. Thanks for listening and watching.